going to try and run an emery board over this stuff, trying to hold this more stable. I'm not going to really be able to show you doing this, but with an emery board, just clean the contacts up, and then I'm going to put the plastic caps back on them and put this all back together and apply power to it and see what happens. I have the transformer back in and the board and the wires, main wires hooked up. Now to put the side unit back in, hook that all back up, and then over to this side. Well, when I was building this power building, upgrading it, I built this bench in here and has a Formica top, and I thought, well, I'll just paint it. That was a really bad idea. So anyways, I have this section in, and along with it all connected in there. Now I need to put the top board, hook up this wiring, and then do the other section, and then I'll be ready to test it. Yeah, just remembering where everything came from. It's not much fun. I have this part assembled now. Almost done with putting it back together. Guess we shall find out here within the next 20 minutes or so, half hour, if or what. We'll see how much further, if I have to take it apart again, pull those relays out. I just have a gut level feeling that that's may not be all the problem or necessarily the problem. So I guess we're gonna see. Okay. So I'm going to turn this off, the light off. So the red light is the error. And boy, that really flashed out. I'm going to set the reset. And it's right back. So the error is still there. So I get to take it all apart again and then pull the relays out, put new relays in. I finally found them. Get to order them from China. So fortunately they're not really expensive. I'm going to get 6 of them, a couple spares. Put them in and hopefully that takes care of it. I don't see any other damage or any other problems anywhere. No smoke, which is good. Well, I guess that'll be it for this one until I get the parts in, tear it back down again, and go from there. After some further testing, and I set it as I reset it to factory defaults. I have the Slave mounted and power's to it. Haven't turned it on yet. So I'm gonna just turn the DC power to it. Now, just watching it, I'm gonna enable it. Okay, so at this point in time, I should be able to test the power as far as I'm going to do AC. Just make sure that there's AC coming out, which is okay. Out is L1, L2, and 247.9 volts. Sorry this is so shaky, but that's the first step. I also got to check again for the input, make sure there's no power coming through the input, which would come from the grid or the generator. This one, the master, is doing that. So the relay there's an issue there. So next step is I will hook up this back into the main here. But while I do that, I'm going to do this side first, and then I'll turn this inverter off, drop the voltage, hit the circuit breaker, all that type of stuff, and do this under battery powered light. And then I'll bring it back up and I'll turn all the stuff off except for this light and make sure that everything is working correctly, and then we'll try the generator and see how that works into it for the battery charging. And this will become the master for short term until I get this one on the bench and see if I can actually fix it as is, or when the relays get in, go ahead and replace that and then reset everything and reprogram it. So that's where I'm at right now. Some good progress, I think. Everything's wired in, or I should say this inverter is wired back into the panel and to the DC. Just need to throw the DC circuit breaker. All the AC circuit breakers are off. This is just kind of like the burn test, right? So coming down here to the 250 amp DC breaker, turn that on. Inverter is coming up. I left it in a disabled state, and let's see, it's coming up. Gonna enable it, and this shows both legs. Actually, it'll show a 3-phase also, but I am going to turn on the master. Surge protector came on okay. So the next step will be the light, and we have light. Turn that one off. That's all a good sign. Shows we're using 55 watts or so for the light, for the LED light here. So let's see. Next step, I guess, will be the 4-way plug. And that came on. Okay. Very leery so far. Turn the fan on, which shouldn't come on because it's set. I'm going to turn the trailer on, and that should be a fairly good draw. Just lighten everything up. Okay. Now, next step is to hook generator up to this guy. Well, next step is check the output on this, or the input, and make sure that it has no power coming into it, or going back to where the grid or shore power would be, or generator. This one, like I said earlier, does. So I have to fix that. So we're getting there. Okay, the slave is acting as a master now. I got the main generator going on it. This one is completely out of line right now, disabled. Got the charger going on it. I've only got it set at 50%. That's the power coming in from the generator. I have it set down considerably low. There's 60 amps going into the batteries, or 1640 some watts. So I'll allow this to go for now and test and watch it before I take this one. I'm going to pull this one off probably tomorrow and tear it apart and see what happens. I think, hopefully, at least I can get by fairly easy now. Get the relays ordered, get them coming in, and then just replace these instead of just cleaning them up with an emery. A lot of extra work, but I think it's well worth it. I think that's enough for today.